2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us. What do you do when your husband is being nasty? Welcome to the Therapy Brothers podcast.
I'm Brannon.
I'm Tyler.
We're brothers.
We're therapists.
And we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Hey, Tyler, you ready to have some hard conversations?
Let's do it.
Let the Therapy Brothers podcast begin. What's up, Tyler?
What's going on, Brannon? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing really good.
That's good. That's the first time I've heard that in a few weeks.
Well, good, yeah. So how was it being a lone man for a week or whatever?
Dude, my side of things was, it was kind of funny. Like, did we mention this last week, or did I just tell you what happened with my wife taking her trip?
I think you mentioned it.
I think we mentioned it on the podcast. Yeah. So it was actually really good. I got a lot of work done. That's the one benefit of having Rhiannon go somewhere is that I actually feel more inclined to like catch up on all the projects and things that I let slide, because I usually like spending time with her. So
you can actually get stuff done when she's gone? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying I'm not disciplined enough to get stuff done if she's around, because I'd rather spend my time with her.
Yeah, look how Tyler spins it to just be he's just a nice guy, you know? It's all about just loving her. It's just loving her every time.
It is. I do love being with my wife. So
you're the man. So you got some stuff done.
Yeah, we got some things done. Worked on a lot of my I'm doing my own assignments on the healing journey that we developed, Brannon. I'm working through that on my own again. Mm-hmm. And so I got a bunch of that kind of work done, personal, kind of internal.
When you say again, like you're going through it again?
Like I'm doing all the assignments that we created for everyone else who does the healing journey.
Nice. So just give me an idea of where you're at.
Yeah, so I'm currently midway through. Only people who have the program are going to know all of this.
Go get the program if you want to know what we're talking about here.
But I'm currently halfway through the gratitude challenge, and I've been listening to my daily affirmations every day for the last.
Oh, nice.
I haven't recorded it, but I quote it on my way into work every day. And I just got started on my impossible goal about 3 weeks ago. So I'm doing 3 of them at a time right now. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. And those are 3 big ones, but 3 really good ones that feed you.
They're really good, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's been really good so far.
Nice. Love it. Well, keep up the good work. If I can support you in any way, let me know.
Thanks, man.
I love that you're doing it, by the way. I've done it. I do it in bits and pieces still. But we can talk about that later. So, because we got Tara on the show, and we want to get to our guest, Tara. So, Tara, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Tara just admitted to us that she's listened to like us a ton, like hours of listening to us. So
Too much.
it's good to actually talk to you and
Yeah.
dig into your story and what's going on with you. So if you could just give us some background, just fill us in, tell us what's going on, and we'll go from there.
Sure. I guess really short version. I guess ex-husband now, but we're reconciling, but we were married for 24 years, 2 kids. We actually got married because I got pregnant. I was raised by like a kind of a gypsy hippie, and he was raised up in the church, parents married, the whole time. He was kind of raised as an only child, like no rules. Like his parents would tell me he was so good. They would sit him next to the good kid in school, so he would rub off on them, never needed to be punished or disciplined, just this amazing guy. Like, and then for me, like I had a lot of childhood trauma, parents married and divorced, like my mom was married and divorced 5 times, a lot of abuse, addiction. I was a ward of the state at like the age 15, 16, went off, on my own. And so I just was very, I guess, lived in kind of survival mode, took care of myself. And so, we got along great. We didn't really argue. We just kind of lived like these separate lives. And a couple years into the marriage, he actually got fired for porn. I didn't realize that porn was like an addiction. So I was staying home, homeschooling the kids. And then the next thing, I was out working 3 jobs. I just did what I did and, didn't shame them or, I just knew when things fall apart, I have to step up and make things work. Well, one day in like 2015, our daughter came home and she was like, Mom, I think you need to check into Dad and, this teacher. And, for 8 years, she continued that. And every time I would ask what was going on, or, it was just, we were both kind of made out to be crazy. And in 2022, a misfired text that was very, very obviously not for me and the group that it was sent to of our friends. Everything kind of came out, and it was months of trickle truth, but he was in an 8-year affair with a friend who is also our kids' teacher. It all came out. I talked to her quite a bit, prayed with her. I had to provide a lot of comfort for her. She was threatening to take her life. And so I'm on the phone with her while that's happening, trying to get a hold of her husband. She actually called my kids because she was their teacher. She called my kids to like apologize to my kids. So, everything came out. We didn't divorce because of the affair. It was because of the hiding and the lying. But the worst part is this inability to, the opposite of Mr. Nice Guy, the opposite of wet noodle. An example, like I hear you guys say, like, if you offered to give him a back rub, would he say, no, let me give you one? He would be like, no, I'll take the back rub. And like, if we go out to eat and he's like, I always pick out the appetizer. Why don't you pick it out this time? And I'll be like, okay, I'm really kind of wanting guacamole. And he'll be like, well, I want a queso, and so we end up with the queso. And, I really want to go on, I really wanted to go on a vacation. And he's like, I don't want to do all the planning BS, but he booked and planned one with his friends. And just, full disclosure, I saw all 8 years. I saw video, I saw photos, I saw emails, I saw a comparison email that she was asking for of our bodies being compared. I mean,
wow.
I saw 8 years of just horror. And there's just so much shame that he is very open about talking about it. He has never blamed me. He, is in a book club doing Wild at Heart with our son and a bunch of his friends. They're adults, but it's been, and he's never stopped me from talking about it. I've done a bunch of therapy and recovery. He's been with a CSAT for about 2 years. He's not in denial about anything. Like, he wants to be better and get better, but boy, I'll tell you, like, total opposite of the wet noodle guy. It's like I can't really have feelings around anything that happened because it triggers this immense amount of defensiveness and shame and anger.
Can I just make sure I understand? You guys are now divorced?
It was, yeah, we're divorced, but our divorce was also really weird. It was like, let's just have this clean slate. Let's just start fresh. Let's get this like necrotic limb cut off and start over. Like the marriage was even this thing of shame. And so, I just am kind of like, it's so neutral with everything. So I'm like, all right. But we never really, and I live on my own, but we've always still just kind of stayed together and just been doing our own work independently. And just recently, we kind of started reconciling and going to his CSAT together just a couple times now. But yeah, we're in this really weird place where, we want to have grandkids together. Like, not, you know what I'm saying? Like, we want to be together with grandkids when they come. We don't want our family to be separated. My faith is so strong and his is growing. And I just feel like when somebody's repenting and wants to be better and isn't, it's just, we're stuck in this place of just this anger and defensiveness and like this self-protection mode that just is like this barrier to connection.
Whose idea was the divorce?
I think we talked about it together, and actually we were together the day the final degree came in, and we like hugged each other and we're talking about this fresh start. I don't know. I was so afraid of divorce because of what I came from. I didn't want it. I in fact regret doing that. I was in such a state still of trauma and shock. It just seemed like the thing you were supposed to do. And
Gotcha.
yeah, I don't know that we thought it through. It was so easy because we didn't have to go through lawyers or custody, or we just sent in paperwork and then it came back and there was nothing we didn't fight over anything. It just was done. So
interesting.
Yeah.
And how long ago did that happen?
In November, it was a year.
A year in November. And so how often are you guys seeing each other now?
All the time.
You're in a relationship, like you're together. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. And so I'm curious a little bit more about his recovery work. So, because on one hand, you're saying he's repentant, he's doing these Wild at Heart groups,
going to CSATs,
he's accountable, he's honest. Like, I'm hearing two things from you. I'm hearing he's that, and then I'm hearing he's a total jerk, selfish jerk, who's sensitive and can't handle, like he's defensive. So I'm kind of hearing both of those things at the same time. I guess my question is as he started this recovery work, have you noticed? I'm gonna call it Mr. Mean Guy, right? Have you noticed Mr. Mean Guy not being around as much, and that he's actually showing up as an actual like kind person who's connected to you? Is that changing at all?
I think Mr. Mean Guy comes out the second I have any sort of, like, if he shows up late, like really late, and I'm upset about that, like I'm so careful about how I react or what my face looks like or what I say, because it's like I'm shaming him if I'm upset about that. So Mr. Mean Guy always comes out, always, if there's anything connected to, like, I ran into the affair partner the other day. I had to be so careful about how I presented that. You know, there are kids, we were hanging out with them, and our daughter was going through some old pictures, and a place where they had been together in our house was in one of the pictures, and he knew it and I knew it, but I had to just be so careful about not reacting, because it's like Lot's wife, you know. I'm looking back and I have to let go of the past, but he can talk about it. You know, he can talk about it, and he can be like, "Are you okay? Were you okay?" But if I answer honestly, then it's just like,
Can you hear how backwards that is?
yeah,
Right? Like, you run into the affair partner and you're scared about
talk
him
to him about it.
getting upset. Right?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Okay, so if I just want to make sure I'm clear on this too. Brannon was going there. I just want to make sure I know what we're dealing with. You've been in a long-term relationship. You got divorced. You're leaning back into the relationship because you actually see and feel that he's being sincere and wanting to change, repent, change his behaviors. He's engaged in good things. You feel all of those changes,
Mm-hmm.
but inside the relationship itself, you're met with, Brannon called him Mr. Mean Guy. You're met with Mr. Mean Guy anytime you have any kind of emotion or feeling or question, or the topic turns to the things that have happened in the past.
Yes. And the crazy thing is, like, if I'm having a situation with one of our kids or with work or, you know, with my mom or something, he's the most, like, generous, empathetic, compassionate, caring. Like, he's the first person I would think to go to. But the scariest question he could ask me is, like, if he knows it's a trigger, there's something that happened, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And right there, I'm like, "Oh boy, that's a loaded question." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he wants to know. And then, like, this Mr. Mean Guy comes out, and it's almost like somebody threw gasoline on a fire. But I mean, and I got to tell you guys, like, I have, you name it, I've done it, as far as like therapy and groups and Celebrate Recovery and everything. And listening to your podcast has completely shifted my personal growth and healing for me. And so it's interesting because I can stand firm now in that, and not have it affect me or impact me the way that it used to. And because I'm able to stand firm in that, he has this super flare up reactive state, and then he needs some time to calm down, and then he can come back and be like, "Man, I don't know why I keep doing that. I don't know why I'm so mean to you. I hate that I do this to you. I hate that I go there every time. I don't know how to, like, move from shame to empathy," you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he acknowledges that in the aftermath?
In the aftermath, because I can stand in, like, I'm scared, but I can stand in it now and kind of confront him once I see he's calmed down a little, but it hasn't reduced the reactivity in the moment, you know?
Yeah. So let's think about that for a second, because I think that's actually really important here. There's sex addiction, there's betrayal, there's all that has happened and is going on. But what you're talking about, Tara, I'm hearing that there's something else that's kind of the issue right now that you're dealing with him. And I could say it's codependency, but even codependency, and why would I say he's codependent to you?
Because his ability to be okay is dependent on if I'm okay.
Yeah, and that you just defined codependency. There you go. Okay, but like even the codependency, he's reacting to you. What's underneath that? Right? And you don't have to answer, but that's the question that we need to ask.
Mm-hmm.
What's underneath that? Why is he having, like he's saying, I don't know why I do that. I don't know why I overreact. Well, there's a reason why. Mm-hmm. And there's a way to heal and to do the work to actually desensitize things and not react so strongly in his main attachment. His sex addiction was a result of him consuming somebody for his self-worth. His codependency with you is a result of him consuming you for his self-worth. And so then we look at that and we say, okay, he's lacking some understanding of self, obviously, because he can't handle if Tara gives like if you roll your eyes. So if we're focused on stay sober, or if we're focused on be a good boy and do these things and go to your meetings and this and that, like all those things are great. But the reality is there's a wound here that has taught him that he's deficient and that he needs you to be okay. And we got to deal with that wound. Right. So what do you think about what I'm saying?
I agree. And, a little bit, so he is going to the CSAT and he is doing that book club, but I can say there's not been any sort of like, he went to like 2 12-step meetings and just kind of felt out of place. He signed up for like this other, like Unchained or something. And just when it got hard, he stopped, and I think, even just, we did like this EMS affair recovery thing, and the homework was just, too much. And I think when there's work involved in his own recovery where he has to start touching the things that are uncomfortable or he doesn't like, he just kind of backs out. And so, I don't know what it is that's there, but definitely, whatever it is, I just know it's like, I hear so much about Mr. Nice Guy, and it's just this, like, not that. It's not that. It's the total opposite of that, where I'm like, can you cave a little? Like, can you have a little, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Could there be a softening in the moment? I mean, it's what I'm hearing is at least there's a softening after the moment, which means he's at least thinking about it and he's capable of going, oh, geez, like, I don't know why that's happening right now. But he hasn't quite he hasn't connected the dots yet to the cave that he fears to enter is all of that stuff. The work that he gets to is like, oh, that's too hard. That's hitting raw nerves. He doesn't understand that by not stepping into that cave, he is continually abusing you by not allowing you to have your own feelings because he can't tolerate them. He hasn't connected those dots yet, that his work is dependent on being able to show up the way that he wants to in those moments afterwards. It's like, oh, I don't know why I can't do that. It's like, well, because you haven't stepped into the cave all the way yet. Like, you got to go make peace with some of those things that are causing these raw nerves every time your wife looks at you weird, or your girlfriend now looks at you weird. Like, he has to learn to step into the arena there. And I just want to maybe mention something else, just so that other people who are listening will understand this. We know we're talking about this shame. There's some type of shame that's getting hit. He has some kind of story about himself, about the man he should be or needs to be, or that you need to see. And when you are seeing something different than he thinks you should, that's when his shame is getting hit, right? And then that's going to lead anyone into three different places, and there's lots of different language for it. There's what we call the shame screens. But basically, the language we use today is the one that you're getting is that he becomes kind of like a controlling chump. Like, I'm gonna get big, and like, I'm gonna make sure that you see that, I'm gonna control you, and I'm not gonna show any type of a feeling or affection, but I'm gonna kind of be mad at you now, and it's gonna be your fault somehow. The second kind of way is, call it Houdini. You just disappear, just like shrink, disappear. You're not getting that from him too much. And then the third one is the Mr. Nice Guy one. That's kind of like, I'll do whatever it takes. Like, as long as you're happy with me, just don't be mad at me. Like, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Just tell me what to do. It's all got the same roots of shame. And what you're getting is that you're getting this almost like stronger press to keep you back. And you're like, I wouldn't mind the nice guy version of like, tell me what to do and I'll just do it all. But that wouldn't yield a result either for you.
No, like, even after the affair came out, I didn't want to track him. I didn't want to like I didn't want to have any of that control. I didn't want that because I'm like I don't want to be his mother. I don't want to be his keeper. Like and so I just wanted like this honesty that I think even now like is hard for him to just, if he messes up, like it's exactly what you said, where it's these total opposites, where it's almost when he gets into this state of mind, the way I explain it's like an auctioneer. Like I just feel like it's this bellowing, like fast talking. So I can't get a word in, I can't get a thought in, I can't even cry. So he's shutting all of that down because I'm so overwhelmed in that moment. And then when it's done and I'm like, I think maybe you need a timeout, or maybe we need a timeout. Like I'm not getting wrapped into the like that cycle or the emotion. I can step away. Then, he used to run away. He used to get angry. He used to just get up and leave. And now he comes back and he's like, man, I did it again. Like, I don't know why I keep doing that. And I hate that I, keep treating you like this. And so it's the not Mr. Nice guy. It's the opposite end of the spectrum guy that then has more guilt because he just did more to cause more pain.
Tara, by the way, you're extremely forgiving and kind, and I wonder at what point it's detrimental to you, where you're getting taken advantage of. Because I'm sure a lot of people listening are thinking, look at everything she's been through and look at the eggshells she has to walk on. Mm-hmm. And yet she's still trying to figure out how to love him and see the good in him. And right. And so for you to really ask yourself, like, okay, at what point is it unhealthy of me to not be boundaried and to, right. And I love what you said earlier of like, look, I've been listening to you guys and I've learned how to step into my boundaries, hold firm, even when it's difficult, even when it triggers him. That's awesome. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to say was, you say he's not like a Mr. Nice guy. He's very much like a Mr. Nice guy. Let me explain. A Mr. Mean guy and a Mr. Nice guy, they have the same issue. They have the exact same issue. They just respond different. And so have you ever done any like IFS or parts work? So I'll
internal family systems a little bit. Yeah. When we were doing the affair recovery stuff. Yeah.
It's really interesting. Like, and Tyler can attest to this. When we do EMDR, when we run our retreats, when we do IFS, you can get somebody to start processing, and they'll start processing. And if they get too close, they can retreat. They can get really scared. And it's like a nerve, like think of it in your tooth or something, where it's like, oh, the dentist is, oh, don't you dare even touch that one, because now here's the problem. They do all these defenses in order to avoid the pain. So in IFS, they call it your exile part. So you have a manager part and you have firefighter parts. These are your protective parts, and they protect you from getting to that exile. They do everything they possibly can. And he has gotten really, really good at that. Like, he's awesome at that, and good for him. His protective parts are really good at avoiding that exile. That exile is a little boy. It's a little boy that has experienced some kind of trauma and some kind of pain that is so vulnerable and so intense that he'll do everything he can to avoid getting that touch. Now, for some reason, as a grown woman, as his wife or ex-wife, or who he's in a relationship with, you have some kind of special ability to go kind of right to that exile, to get really close to it, right? And so because of that, he's on edge around you because You might get to his exile. You might see it. And you're on edge around him because you're dealing with his protective parts all the time that are screaming back at you and saying, look, I don't care. I'm going to be a jerk. I'm going to like rant and not let you get a word in. He's so good. Like, good for him. Now, the question is does he want to deal with the infected nerve? Or does he want to continue to figure out how to protect around it and figure out how to have some kind of a relationship with you, but always have some kind of distance there because he's not going to show you everything, right?
Yeah.
Does this ring true?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that sounds exactly like what's going on. And, you know, and I know for me too, like a lot of my own personal, you know, just like I said, being a ward of the court, like for me, it's this deeper wound of like, you know, like, will you fight for me? You know, I've also read Wild at Heart, and not being chosen, you know, and not being chosen, not just by him, but, you know, even as a child. And so, you know, I understand for me too. And then being through so many divorces, like the fear of just failing in that way, like, you know, and I've had a lot of therapy and just been working through a lot of that myself too. And so I understand my weakness coming into this and that need that I have too. And so, you know, I just wonder what parts of it's just, I think the hardest part of me is that I am seeing this side of him that I've never seen before that's coming back. And being like, why do I keep doing this? Why? Before there was none of that, but now
he's a bit more inquisitive and accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually hearing some work happening in that, and that eventually, if he keeps doing that work, eventually he'll start catching it in the moment, and then he'll catch it beforehand. And eventually, if he's willing to keep doing that work, but he could accelerate that for sure. And what Brannon's saying, I love that you can see this. I've just pulled up the lyrics to a song that I think go really well with this, and then I want to ask you a question. All right, so this, you probably heard the song "Demons" by Imagine Dragons, but this is, I think, what you're dealing with. I want to hide the truth. I want to shelter you, but with the beast inside, there's nowhere we can hide. When you feel my heat, look into my eyes. It's where my demons hide. It's where my demons hide. Don't get too close. It's dark inside. It's where my demons hide. I don't want to let you down, but I'm hellbound. This is all for you. I don't want to hide the truth. You guys, you hear those kinds of lyrics? Every time he shows up the way he does to you, that's what's behind it, and you know that. What's coming up for you emotionally right now, Tara?
I don't know why I'm crying, but it's, you know, the crazy thing is, like, when the affair started, you know, his mom had just died, and I was in the hospital. I was really sick, and I was in the hospital for about a month. So I think there was this, and I was not doing well. And, you know, and right after his mom died, his dad moved here, and, you know, he was like, I was the breadwinner. So I think there was also this feeling of just not that man being able to like take care of his family. And then when the affair came out, within months, like we were doing good. And then within months, his dad died. And his dad was like his best friend. And so he like lost his mom, then he lost his dad. Then, you know, it was just this, and the affair came out, and it was just this series of like failure after failure and loss after loss. And I just know, like, he's like, I feel like I can see this really good heart, which I think is why I'm not giving up. Like, I feel like if he was just this, like, if he wasn't still coming back, like, and, you know, his aunt passed away we're like going through all of this and this loss. When his aunt passed away, he inherited her home. He gave everything to me. Like, he gave everything to me so that I could be taken care of and have what I need. And just but I still it's like you said, those lyrics, and I never really listened to him before, but you can see just so much anger. And just like when I look at him now, when he gets angry like that, I'm not even taking it personally, because I'm just watching almost like this fire burn inside this person that, you know, I, yeah, I don't know like what's missing there or what was lost, or I don't know, but I see all of this, and then just trying to, like you said, like put up this wall, this protection to push it all away, block it all out. I just don't know what it is that's in there.
Yeah. Well, that's what he's doing and this is where Brannon was going is that you, by the nature of your relationship with him and who he wants you to be in his life, are already this close to the most vulnerable parts of him. And every time you start to just skim or touch those vulnerable parts of him, what you get is his heat. You get that heat. And if you see that, and the way that you just described it with such tenderness and love towards him and understanding towards him, you're already ahead of the game, because now you're not taking it personally. But here's where the rub comes in. And I'll ask you to maybe consider this, and Brannon, you might have a different opinion on this. If you love him and you can see that his vulnerable parts are right underneath the surface, and now he's thrown up this big protective part, the fire that's now burning, you're in a tough spot, because you have to protect your values. You have to fight for something that you want in the relationship. You have to do it while loving him. And sometimes the answer to that is to actually do something that you know will leave him in the wilderness. It'll leave him in a spot where he's going to have to go actually wrestle with the demons that are there. And in fact, the biggest gift that you might be able to offer him is to actually acknowledge that that's what's happening, and then set boundaries and watch the thing spin out for a while. Because then you're saying, I see you, and I'm not doing it this way. And the minute you can treat me with respect or talk to me kindly, like I'm here for you. But I know there's another part underneath that. And no, you're not going to treat me this way anymore. That doesn't work. And sometimes if you love him and you can see his pain, it's hard to hold that side of the boundary, because it feels like you're being mean.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like Tyler was saying, one of the biggest gifts you can give him is detachment and an opportunity for healthy differentiation in your relationship, so that he has a chance to find God. So do you understand what I just said?
You're going to need to break that down a lot more, Brannon.
As long as you're there, and as long as he's turning to you to say, am I okay? Am I okay? Am I okay? He's not turning somewhere else to find that. And you might give him the answer, you're not okay, and that triggers him and he freaks out. You might give him the answer that, yes, you're wonderful, and he's like, okay, good, fine.
But that's not the answer.
Either way, if you're not detached, like you guys have been too attached in your unhealthy attachment, that if you don't do that detachment and that healthy and it's going to be excruciating, it's going to trigger those exile parts inside of him. And that you talked about that, Tara. Like when I do that, he freaks out. Now his unhealthy attachment and his trauma loves your wounds. Because your wounds are like, well, I don't want to abandon him. I don't want divorce, because like I went through that so much, and I don't want rejection, and I just want to make sure. And he's like, okay, I can be the biggest jerk ever, and she'll hang in there with me. Like she'll be okay. Do you see what I'm saying? So he'll play that on you too. And so there's this really uncomfortable, important space for both of you, which is, I'm going to show up authentic, and I want you to show up authentic, and I'm going to show up compassionate and with positive regard toward you, but I'm going to show up honest. And that space is where you stand on your own 2 feet so that you can love yourself, and then open up a possibility for actual intimacy and love with him, and vice versa. Right? Yeah. But stand on your own 2 feet means you need somewhere to stand. And I believe that is really turning to God and saying, within myself, between God and I'm okay. So if my spouse gives me a dirty look or thinks I'm the worst ever, then I can actually care about how she's feeling because I'm okay already, independent of her, right?
Right.
So that's what that detachment and healthy differentiation is. So, but it's excruciating, and you're doing that work, right, Tara?
Mm.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's hard because, like I said, for the most part, like, we get along great. This was just a curveball that I feel like a lot of everything that we've done has been very reactive. And I think just in our own individual healing, we're starting to move into more of like responding with intent. And so I think for me too, I just needed, like, I don't obviously have a lot of support either. I'm in this women's Bible study, and, the women with me are just they're like family, the most supportive people. But like, just kind of that it's okay to not be okay. And then also it's okay to detach and grow and give him that space and room as well.
I wonder, especially if you in a moment or in a place of understanding and seeing it clearly and being able to love the exiled kind of part of him that you're not really getting to see. I picture this almost like you having your arms open towards that part at the same time that this other protective part is coming in, and you're going like, I'm not going there with you right now, but I'm here for this part. Right. And what you're doing is that as you set your boundaries, you're not just putting up a wall, you're also opening a gate to the other part of him. And this has been maybe something that's helped some couples that I've worked with in the past with this kind of a thing, if he's willing, but you can, is that they'll actually give that protective part a different name. So if his name is like, say, it's his name is John, give that part of him a different name. Name him, Fred or something. And then you can use that as language and saying, hey, am I dealing with Fred or am I dealing with, the softer parts of John? Because I want to deal with the softer parts of John, and that's why I'm here, and I want to be able to show my feelings. And
I love John. I love him.
I'm all about here for John, and I would want to listen to John. I want to hold John. But I also want to be a woman who's with an adult John that can hold my feelings, that can hold my looks, that can hold the roll of my eyes, that can hold. And am I talking to that guy right now? Because if I am, I'm here. And if I'm talking to Fred, we're done for now. And now what you're doing is you're inviting him. It's like a call up to him to say, hey, hang with me, be with me, give me these parts that are hidden behind the fire. Like I'm here for all of that. At the same time, I'm not here to be mistreated anymore. And this is so hard. This is so hard. I talk to so many partners, like women who've been kind of in your same shoes. One of the biggest gifts you could ever give him is if you happen to have a really rough day and you run into the affair partner, let him see your tears.
Whoa, you just rocked her world, Tyler.
Let him see your tears. How's he ever going to learn how to hold him if he doesn't let you be authentic?
Yeah.
Be authentic. Be authentic. The biggest gift you could give him, even if it hurts him, when he looks at those tears, especially not the tears of like anger, you go home and you're like mad and you're yelling at him and stuff. But what happens if you go home and you show him the vulnerable part of you, which is, man, my rejected part is aching. Like I am hurting so bad right now. And I can't believe you did those things to me. When he gets to see that part of you, his protective parts will come up, but another part of him is going to go like, oh, I can't. If he's a good man and you're going to stay in a relationship with him, he'll start to feel this. I can't afford to keep hurting her this way. I can't keep doing this to her. But right now, he you come home, you're like, everything's good except for the fact I can hardly breathe and I'm like puckered so tight because I don't have any place to go with my energy. And it's like, okay, good. All is good then. We're good. Like, we're good. Like, no, let him see you.
You know what's interesting? Tara, with everything Tyler's saying. Like, your childhood, you went through a lot of, sounds like, abandonment and rejection. And in your marriage, what I'm seeing is that you're creating a lot of abandonment and rejection, where it's, he has an affair that hurts, but then it's like, well, I can't be honest and open about how that really makes me feel. So I have to stuff that. It's like I've been hurt by a betrayal, and now I'm rejected again with my emotions around that betrayal. Right. And for you to, and what Tyler's ultimately saying is like, when you give him that opportunity, you believe he'll fail because that's what you've experienced time and time again. When you cry, when you're emotional, like, he won't hold that space, right? But you are caretaking for him when you stuff your stuff and you control the situation because you're afraid, versus you being authentic, you being honest, you being open. And when you're authentic, you give him a chance to actually love you. He's not loving you when you're being fake and keeping the peace with him, right? And I get it. I get that, like, you've had enough experience in your life where it's like, well, if I'm that authentic, then let's get ready, because it's going to be really, he's going to be mean, he's going to be emotional, he's going to be all these things. And I love what Tyler said with the separation of like, oh, Fred, what's up? Like, I see you. And you got to think of him as like a 3-year-old. So like, when let's say you cry because something he did triggered you and you're crying.
Right.
And he's like, well, gosh, you're the worst. Right. He's just going.
Mm-hmm.
He's a 3-year-old throwing a tantrum.
Yeah.
How would you handle a 3-year-old?
Throwing a tantrum?
Yeah, he's throwing a tantrum because you're hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you handle a 3-year-old?
Well, I wouldn't, obviously. I would tell my kids to feel their feelings. I always tell them to feel their feelings, but that the tantrum's not acceptable.
Right.
And so they would have to, get themselves to a place where they can settle down and then, talk about it. But yeah.
Nailed it. That's it. Like,
that's what you say to Fred.
When he's, when he's him, it's much more easy to take it personal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's telling me I'm horrible. He's telling me I shouldn't feel these things. When you can see his trauma and his exile part and be like, okay, there's the tantrum. There's Fred.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, 3-year-old, it's like, it's valid that you're feeling hurt right now.
Shame.
I'm hurting. I'm not going to engage with your tantrum. But it totally makes sense why you're feeling that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So just like a 3-year-old, like, I'm not going to perpetuate the tantrum here, but I'm going to stay honest with you about where I'm at and what the consequences are.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound really hard?
It does. Yeah, but I also feel that I'm in this place where it's the better option, because I just don't, for me, it's like what you guys speak to a lot about, standing in your values and integrity. Like, if I'm not being honest with who I am, then I lack integrity because I'm showing up inauthentic, and then that's not healthy either. And so, just to keep the peace, I've had a lifetime of that, and it hasn't really got me anywhere, but more hurt. So
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, but
Go ahead.
I was just also gonna say too, like, I'm just really grateful that you guys reached out, and just so grateful that you just have so much grace for these men, because there's, I know there's something deeper in like all of these men, and I'm not, I just know that that's not who God created these people, these men to be. And so seeing it from your perspective, like there's been so many different, groups and therapy I go to where it's just so it feels kind of judgmental, or just it's not looking at these deeper wounds for the men or the women, and I know women obviously cheat too, but I'm just so grateful for your approach, and it was so different from everything else that I've experienced, listened to, been involved in, and it's just changed so much for me. And so any opportunity I have to share what you guys do, I put it out there. And it's sad to see, it's almost like once you buy a certain kind of car, then you see that car all over the streets, everywhere. And it's like, once you've experienced an affair, it's like all these people around you, and you start to see it more. And it's just so, it's everywhere. And so I just really appreciate not just what you've done for me, but that I can share it, with others too. And so thank you.
Well, Tara, you were so brave to. Tara, just so everyone knows, she submitted a question in writing, and I reached out to her and said, "Hey, why don't you come on the show?" And you did. And you are such a gift today to so many people, Tara, by having done that. So I want to say thank you to you for that, and I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm very grateful for the kind words too. I'm glad that it's meant something to you. And I would just say that part of the reason why, at least my approach is the way that it is because it takes one to know one. I'd have to believe that I'm redeemable, and so, and I've done certain things, and so I have to believe that in all of our clients too, and people that come through. So, thank you for that. I want to check one more thing with you really quickly. I know we're getting short on time. To do the kind of work that Brannon and I have just kind of suggested you continue to do, you need a team. Like you're going to need some women in your corner that are going to kind of like hold you to the fire when you start to want to crumble on your boundaries, or when you want to go back to not being authentic. And I'm just going to read a couple of things that have come through today. First one, a woman named Wendy says, "Thank you for bringing this today, Tara." And then another lady named Tanya said, "You're so strong. Be authentic, Tara." Like, you need that in your corner all the time. And so if you have those, groups at church or whatever, that's going to be important. But we want to make sure that you've got some structure so that you can fall into the support that's pushing you towards your changes. And I just want to make sure you have some of that in your life right now.
Yeah. I do. My friend Anne, and I don't know why I'm emotional again, but she's like I didn't really, my mom is just, she just kind of stepped in as like a friend, a mom, a mentor, and her faith is so strong. And if there's anybody that holds me accountable and just reminds me, to keep my focus on God, it's her. I'm not outside of that Bible study, I'm not in any groups right now. And like, I've never done the EMDR. There's just a lot that I haven't done, but yeah, I've got some really good support behind me for sure. I've got a couple good friends, my friend, Vanessa, I got some really good friends that are supportive, to actually like hold me to the fire. That's going to be Anne for sure. So, but yes, I do. Thank you. Are you like recommending any, is there a group that you're aware of that might be helpful, or something that you would suggest or recommend outside of everything I've already done?
That's the reason I'm asking is because everyone needs somebody in their corner. So it's good that you have people, and those people need to be able to learn with you so they can speak your language. They need to be able to kind of offer perspective and practice empathy with you, and they need to keep your confidences, but then they need to respect your choices.
Yeah.
And if you've got a few in your corner, that's really, really big deal. But both Brannon and I run groups, and and that's one of the reasons why we run the groups, is to try to provide some of that scaffolding and structure to kind of help, if it's done right, to help push you back into like the work you're trying to do. So,
if I can just say before we wrap up, we're running low on time, but just what you said really means a lot to me, Tara. Like I've been at this for a long time, and I've been in arenas where one side or the other gets made out to be the bad guy. And I think one thing that the three of us together, I think we have this, and is that I naturally see the good in everybody, and really, really good souls do some really bad stuff. And I think they can still feel from me that I see their goodness and I love them. And I think you're good at that too, Tara. And it's good that you can still see his goodness, right? I would love your husband. I really would. Like, I'd love to like get to know him and dig into things with him. But at the same time, just because he's good does not mean that he has a right to do bad things to you.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Both are true.
Both are true. So I just really appreciate your courage, appreciate your vulnerability, and thank you for coming on today, Tara. Really appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. Thank
Tara,
you so much for everything.
One more comment for you. This might be somebody, you know, it might be a different Ann, but we just got a comment from an Ann that said, I just cried. So thank you. Thank you to those of you who are here participating. Thank you for those who listen. Thank you for being a part of what we're trying to do here. And Tara, thank you again for your kind comments today. If this is meaningful to anybody who's listening, or if you know somebody who's in a situation where this would be beneficial, please share. We love to be able to reach as many people as we can. And again, thank you, Tara. And until next time, keep on keeping on.